Hey guys! I don't know if you guys heard about that new Thundercats reboot. Not a lot of people are talking about it. I'm kidding. Fucking everyone's talking about it. I wanted to do a kind of rambling, non-scripted video about my thoughts on the new Thundercats Roar. If you don't know already, Thundercats Roar is going to be a new reboot coming out next year. It's a reboot of the Thundercats show that came out in the 1980s. The controversy surrounding the show is the art style is very, very different from the art style of the 80s show, and it's tonally going to be something completely different, where the 80s show was a more serious, violent boy show, for lack of a better term. This is much more cartoony, and it's going to be focused on the comedy of the world, and there's been some controversies about it and some hot takes about the show. So before we get into my opinion, I kind of wanted to go over what other people were saying about it. Let's get the really dumb hot takes out of the way first. So we got some beautiful titles here. Thundercats Roar, cartoons for a cucked up generation. Thundercats Roar, the whimpering of the soy boys. Thundercats Roar, the societal dangers of toxic anti-masculinity. Yeah. Thundercats Roar is not an attack on anyone's masculinity. It's just a cartoon. I feel like I shouldn't have to say this, but it's just a cartoon. Maybe don't take it that seriously. Maybe don't think it's an attack on you as a man. It's just a reboot. A reboot that has a very different cartoon style from the original. I hear a lot of people bitching whenever the term fragile masculinity comes up, but if you're this sensitive that you're gonna get upset and offended by a cartoon that hasn't even come out yet, maybe rethink your stances just a little bit. Some of the other opinions I've seen on it are that it's very similar to the cartoon styles of a lot of other modern cartoons, such as Steven Universe or Gravity Falls or The Amazing World of Gumball, Star vs. the Forces of Evil, Adventure Time. People have been throwing around the term the Cal art style. There have been a lot of differing opinions on this topic concerning the Cal art style, and so personally, how I feel about this show is it looks cute. The art style doesn't look awful to me, but I am getting kind of sick of seeing this same style over and over and over again. And I know the animation in each show is different. Gumball does not have the same kind of animation as Steven Universe. Steven Universe doesn't have the same kind of animation as Star vs. the Forces of Evil. They all have different tones and backgrounds, and the way the characters move are different. What I mean when I say similar styles is the way the characters are designed. The very round faces, the very simplified features, even down to the way that they smile can be very similar sometimes. In general, I'm kind of conflicted about this show. That hasn't even come out yet. Mind you, all these hot takes are coming out before the show has even had a full episode out. I am kind of conflicted on it, and I'm not sure entirely how I feel, because while I am kind of tired of seeing these same styles over and over, my friend actually brought up a very valid point to me when we were talking about it, that this is just kind of how animation is, where there'll be a decade of like one specific type of style because people are influenced by the same thing and they're influenced by each other. For example, if you Google 90s anime, you kind of know what kind of style you're going to be getting. If you Google 80s anime, you know exactly what kind of style you're going to be getting. If you Google 80s cartoons, you're going to see very burly, big dudes, like with He-Man, like with G.I. Joe, with Captain Planet, with fucking Thundercats. And people will often mention 90s cartoons like, oh well, 90s cartoons had a very diverse sense of styles. They had a lot of different styles going on at that time. But the 90s were a very unique period in time that kind of hasn't happened before and probably won't happen again for a while. Because what happened in the 90s were cartoon artists were given a lot more freedom to create whatever they wanted, unlike in the 80s where they were basically using cartoons as promotions for toys. So in the 90s you kind of had a free-for-all of just seeing what sticks and seeing what works. So you had stuff like the Rugrats, you had stuff like Dexter's Lab, you had all these different cartoons that looked very different from each other because a bunch of people are doing a lot of different things. They were kind of treading new ground, and I think that's kind of tapered off now, and we're back into an area where people are kind of just not copying each other, but they're all influenced by each other. So I have the mixed take of, I am kind of tired of seeing these same styles, but at the same time, this isn't anything new. This is kind of just what happens in animation industries. I mean, look at Disney now. Look at all of their recent digital princesses. They all have very similar faces. Moana, Elsa, Anna, Rapunzel, they all have very similar features. And people have been giving them shit too, but this is just kind of what happens, you know? What I will say is that I don't want the artists to be getting any shit for this. You know, they're just creating something that they want to create. They're doing something that they're proud of and they like. And I support them for that. I think what I'm more so upset with is the people who are in control of these companies like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon and Disney, who just want these very samey looking cartoons instead of trying something new. And when we get kind of groundbreaking cartoons, they usually get canceled pretty fast. So me personally, I just want to see more diversity of character design. But I also understand that these things just kind of happen. This is what the trend is now, and so a lot of people are going to be following that trend. I'm not a big fan of the whole superhero show turned into comedy thing, but it's a fad that'll die out just like every other fad, and once it does, we'll get something new and different. And also, again, to reiterate, this isn't a fucking attack on your masculinity. It's a cartoon. Relax. Just chill out. Calm down. It'll be over soon, okay? Just chill out. It's okay. It's fine. It's okay. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Thundercats Roar. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Call me a soy boy if you want. I don't drink a lot of soy, but it's fine. Bye!
The whole point is that, yes, the world they exist in is ridiculous. Every fantasy story you've ever seen, every science fiction story you've ever seen is stone cold fuck nuts, but you don't mock it because it will take away from the seriousness of the show. The entire concept of the show hinges on it being played serious. You're an asshole, soy boy. Get the fuck away from my franchise.